There is an app used by more people than live in the entire United States, times 4. An app where people spend more time every single day than the average American spends on every social media platform combined. An app so deeply woven into daily life that without it, over 1 billion people couldn't pay their rent, call their friends, book a taxi, or order lunch. And there's a very good chance you have never heard of it. It's called WeChat. And the company behind it, Tencent, is one of the most valuable corporations on the face of the earth. Worth more than Facebook, worth more than Samsung, worth more than Mastercard. And yet if you walked up to someone on the street right now and asked them what Tencent does, most people would stare back at you completely blank. That's not an accident. Tencent prefers to stay invisible. But here's the thing. Even if you've never heard the name, you almost certainly use something they own. And if you've ever played a video game, there's a very high chance Tencent has already made money from you without you ever knowing it. This is the story of the most powerful company most people have never heard of. How it started with a knockoff chat app, a tiny office, and a disco ball hanging from the ceiling. And how it quietly became one of the most influential forces on the entire planet. It all starts in 1998 in the southern Chinese city of Shenzhen with a quiet, introverted young coder named Pony Ma. Growing up, Pony mostly went unnoticed. He was the kind of kid who kept to himself, rarely spoke in class, and spent most of his time in front of a computer. The one moment he did get noticed at university was when he hacked into the school's computer system just to prove he could. At 22, he built a piece of software that predicted stock price movements and sold it to his own employer for 3 times his annual salary. Smart guy. But nobody had any idea what was coming next. One day, Pony was browsing the early internet and stumbled onto a Western chat platform called OICQ, one of the first services that let strangers message each other in real time. And instead of just using it, Pony had a different thought entirely. He thought, I can build this for China. So in 1998, Pony and 3 friends from school launched their own version. They called it OICQ. Literally ICQ with the letter O stuck on the front. They weren't even hiding the inspiration. But what Pony did brilliantly was tailor it specifically to Chinese users. Smaller file sizes for China's slow internet speeds, the ability for strangers to connect, a design that just felt right for the local market. The only problem? Nobody came. In the early days, Pony was so desperate to keep new users engaged that he would log into his own chat app, change his profile picture, and pretend to be a girl, just to keep lonely users talking long enough that they'd come back the next day. The founder of the company, catfishing his own users, to keep his own product alive. But then something clicked. 500 users became 5,000. 5,000 became 50,000. And word started spreading fast. Within a year, they had 1 million users. Year 2, 50 million. China had caught the bug. But success nearly killed them before it could save them. Servers were expensive. The app was completely free, which meant the more people used it, the more money Tencent lost. The small team was doing freelance work on the side just to keep the lights on. And then one morning, a thick envelope arrived from America. It was from the lawyers of AOL, the American company that owned the real ICQ. They were suing Tencent for intellectual property theft and demanding they shut the whole thing down immediately. Pony didn't have money for a lawsuit. He barely had money for anything. He tried to sell the entire company, and nobody would buy it. Eventually, he managed to secure a meeting with China's most prominent venture capital fund and walked in and told them the complete truth. If you don't fund us right now, this company will probably die. And even if you do, we're not totally sure how we'll make money. Years later, the investor said it was Pony's brutal honesty, not his pitch, that convinced him to write the check. $2.2 million, just enough to survive. The lawsuit forced one change. OICQ had to be renamed. Pony called it QQ. And from that point, QQ didn't just survive. It became the heartbeat of a generation of Chinese internet users. Making money, though, was still a puzzle. Banner ads flopped. A subscription fee backfired so badly that users left in large numbers, and Pony scrapped it within a year. But then a Tencent employee discovered a Korean website that let people dress up digital avatars and buy virtual clothing for them. Tencent copied the idea, as they would do many, many times, and launched QQ Show, a feature that let users customize a cartoon version of themselves for a few cents at a time. Those tiny transactions, multiplied across tens of millions of users, added up fast. Finally, there was a business here. The avatar feature also had an unexpected side effect. People had started using QQ to meet strangers and flirt, and a customized avatar became a way to signal your personality, your taste, your status. Even Pony himself met his future wife through QQ, chatting with her for 3 months before they met in person. When she first messaged him asking who he was, he replied, "I'm Penguin Dad," a nod to Tencent's penguin mascot. She wrote back, "Then I'm Penguin Mom." 6 months later, they were married. But the real test came in 2004 when Microsoft brought their chat platform MSN into the Chinese market. Microsoft had vastly more money, more resources, and more brand recognition. MSN quickly became popular in offices and universities. It was professional, clean, and backed by one of the most powerful technology companies in the world. By every rational measure, Tencent should have lost. They didn't. Because while Microsoft had to wait for approval from American headquarters before making any product decision, Tencent could ship a new feature in 2 weeks. When MSN's own China team suggested letting users receive messages while offline, a now obvious feature, the idea sat in meetings for months and went nowhere. Tencent launched the same feature almost immediately. Microsoft eventually pulled MSN out of the Chinese market altogether. Tencent had beaten a company 100 times its size simply by being faster. After that victory, there was no stopping them. By 2005, QQ had passed 500 million users. And now, armed with that audience, Tencent started doing something very deliberate. They watched what was working on the internet elsewhere in the world, copied the best ideas, and pushed them to their existing hundreds of millions of users. Games, news portals, email, music, video. One by one, Tencent either built their own version or acquired a stake in someone else's. Their reputation as a killer copycat grew uglier by the year. But the strategy worked. Then in 2011, sensing that mobile internet was about to overtake desktop, Pony did something unusual. Instead of building one mobile app, he created 3 separate internal teams and told them to compete against each other to build the best one. The culture at Tencent had been described as a shark womb, referencing how some sharks consume their own siblings in the womb to survive. Pony believed that if someone was going to disrupt QQ, it should be Tencent itself. The winning product was WeChat. And at first, nobody cared. Then Tencent added a push-to-talk voice messaging feature, borrowed from a smaller app called TalkBox, which Tencent had actually been in negotiations to acquire while simultaneously copying their entire product. WeChat exploded. Within 433 days of launching, it had hit 100 million users. For context, it took Facebook around 5 years to reach the same number. What followed was a decade of Tencent loading WeChat with every feature imaginable: a social media feed, a built-in blog platform, a dating feature that lets strangers connect based on location, a virtual red envelope feature during Lunar New Year that accidentally launched one of the largest mobile payment platforms in the world when 75 million digital red envelopes were sent in a single holiday period. That became WeChat Pay, a payment system that today processes more daily transactions than Visa and Mastercard combined. And then in 2017, Tencent launched something called mini programs, essentially a full app store built inside WeChat. Suddenly, users didn't need to download any other apps at all. Restaurants, hotels, ride-sharing, food delivery, parcel tracking, cinema tickets, government services, all running as mini apps inside one single platform. In China today, you can wake up, call your friend through WeChat, book your taxi through WeChat, pay for your coffee through WeChat, post a photo through WeChat, watch a show through WeChat, and go to sleep having never needed to open a single other app. For over 1 billion people, WeChat isn't just an app, it's the internet.